is that because there's a cultural base here that is sufficiently rich and diverse that it makes possible something very different. There's I think not enough really meaningful diversity on the mainland. The center of gravity is in a different place from Hawaii, and so you'll never get the kind of narrow-minded fanaticism that's possible on the mainland. And so it just doesn't, the Tea Party on the mainland and the more extreme kinds of things that are happening, I just can't imagine those things happening here. So, Hawaii's far enough away from the United States as an island. It has enough richness from different traditions, like the Polynesian, and then the different Asian communities that have come here, that it's really different. Part of it is that there's no majority here. No one's in the majority, so everybody's a minority. And that's very healthy.
Yeah, healthy.
That's very healthy.
So we need a manifesto of dependency. Hawaii here.
Right.
I'm so comfortable. I feel so comfortable here as a Japanese.
Isn't that? Yeah.
Yes, because here I'm minority as a foreigner or as Japanese. Japanese.
Right.
Either.
But isn't that? I mean, it's so great that everybody else is too. Yeah. When first time I went back to the mainland, and I was in Ohio, and I looked around and I said, "This is really boring. Look at all these haoles. They're so boring." Yeah. Have you ever heard this expression of a member of one group saying about another group, they all look alike? Have you ever heard that expression? And I first heard it when I was in Ohio. And white people would say that about the blacks. Oh, they all look alike. And it's such a stupid remark. But if you never see another group, if you never spend time together, they seem to look all alike. And when I worked in this inner city school, there were all black kids. And then one of the teachers got married. He was black, and I was invited to the wedding. And I went to this wedding, and all the people at the wedding were black people. And one of the teachers came up to me, their good friend, and they said, first, did I feel strange being there? And I said, well, it was a little bit unusual because I had never ever been where everyone was black. And he said, well, do you mind if I tell you something? And I said, no, tell me. And he said, you know what? You white people all look alike. And I was so happy to hear that because I thought, well, of course. It's like if you don't spend time with other people, you get this, maybe it's fear or maybe whatever it is. And so I remember when we were in China the first time, and here are all these teachers, and I asked the question, what do you look like if you're Chinese? How can you tell if someone's Chinese? And so it was maybe the third or fourth day of the workshop, so we had a lot of intellectual safety. And so one of the teachers said, well, I think they look like me. And that set off such a rollickingly fun time of, no, they look like, well, but what about and they very quickly realized that this was an abstraction that had no grounding in reality. And so there's this fiction about the Chinese or the Koreans. What does a typical Korean look like? Or what's a typical Asian look like? It's like, that's just a ridiculous question. And so when you're here, well, what does a typical Filipino look like? Oh, come on. Because you got a bunch of Filipino friends and they don't all look alike. I don't have any trouble telling one Filipino apart from another. And I think for me that's part of the comfort here then, is that whatever you are, you're not automatically stereotyped and pushed aside or whatever.
Why are you so happy to being minority? Because you are white people.
White man.
Yeah.
Aged.
So typically majority people, I think your attribute is, but you are very comfortable to be minority.
Minor.
Yeah,
Minor.
minority. I think it's because I have finally really realized that what we look like on the outside just doesn't matter. It's just irrelevant, It just doesn't matter. It's just irrelevant. And we look different, but that's really interesting. And another thing I think I've realized too is that if I really want to meet someone, if you really want to get to know them, the more quickly you make eye contact and keep looking into their eyes, the more quickly you're going to know that person. And the other features are just accident of history, accident of birth or whatever. But to look at someone's eyes, and is there happiness or sadness, interest, fear, that's the real person. And then one of the things that I love to be able to do is to connect with somebody and to, in a way, to get them, to invite them really to tell me more about yourself. What do you like to do and all the rest of those sorts of things, and to watch their eyes come alive. It's just it's like, wow, this is so cool. And the younger we are, the more readily we do that. You know that. You're with the little children, and then, oh, what do you like to do? Oh, man, I really like to. Oh, man, let me just. Oh, yeah, I like. Oh, yeah, I really like. And they're just, right there immediately. And so, like when we make a community bond, I say, okay, tell me what you really like to do and why. Oh yeah, I really like. And then okay, what's something you don't like to do and why? Oh man, I really don't like to be with my little brother. He is such a pest, man. And what's happened? All the masks are gone. It's just all right there. They're just here, meet this little kid. And this little kid's not going to hold back at all. Man, my little brother's such a dork. And then this is beautiful. Now I think town is coming right up here, right after the fender works. And this
So you find it beautiful?
beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
I think so.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's just beautiful. And and you've seen, like I have probably in class already, I'll say to people, people are so beautiful. They are so beautiful. And most people don't realize how beautiful they are. What, ugly me? Ugly me? Look at me. I mean, my eyebrows are too big, or I'm losing hair, or I'm overweight, I'm all that stuff. And I'm thinking, just if you could see your face right now and how animated you are and telling me how ugly you are, you're just beautiful in all of that. It's just so beautiful. Customer parking, go good there. So we can... Look, there's a place to park here, and we're right on time. Oh, and look at P4Z Miracle. We got the last one in the line here. There we go. Oh, I want to back up a little bit. Try not to tear the side of my car off or give that guy enough room to get in. There's this Barbara Streisand song, "People who need people are the luckiest people in the world." And I think
Maybe I know.
people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. She sings it much better than I do.
Of course.
Of course.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah.